When I was 8 years old, my grandmother gave me a small fabric doll with button eyes and a stitched smile. She told me her name was Mimi, a special friend who would keep me safe at night. I didn't understand then why she said it with a trembling voice, or why she insisted that I never, ever leave the doll alone in the dark. At first, Mimi looked harmless soft pink dress, tiny yarn braids, and a smile that seemed a little too wide. I kept her on my bedside table. But the more I stared at her, the more uneasy I felt, as if her button eyes weren't sewn on, but watching. One night, a scratching noise woke me up, slow, deliberate, like nails dragging along wood. My heart thudded as I scanned the dark room. Everything was still. I sighed and turned to go back to sleep until I saw Mimi. She wasn't on the bedside table anymore. She was sitting on my chest. Her little fabric face was inches from mine, tilted in a way that stitched dolls shouldn't tilt. I froze, too terrified to scream. Mimi's button eyes gleamed, reflecting a faint, unnatural light. Then, as though sensing my fear, she slid off my chest and dropped to the floor with a soft thud. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. In the morning, I tried convincing myself it was a dream. But when I placed Mimi back on the table, I noticed something new. One of her tiny stitched fingers was ripped open, almost like she had been using it to scratch something. Or someone. That evening, the house felt colder. Shadows stretched too long, and whispers seemed to slip through the hallway. When I entered my room, I saw Mimi lying on my pillow, her head turned toward me, her button eyes dull and empty. I hadn't left her there. "Grandma," I asked nervously at dinner, "where did Mimi come from?" Grandma's hand froze mid-air. "She belonged to someone long ago," she whispered. "A little girl who had trouble letting go." That night, the scratching returned, louder this time. The sound crawled up the wall, across the ceiling, then stopped right above my bed. I pulled the blanket over my head, shaking. Suddenly, the blanket tightened around my legs as if something was pulling it down. I kicked wildly until it loosened. Panting, I peeked out. Mimi was standing on the floor, her body leaning toward me, and she was moving. Not fast, just a slow, jerky, unnatural walk, her little feet tapping softly against the wood. Every few steps, her head twitched sideways, button eyes fixed on me like she was studying my fear. I tried to scream, but my voice died in my throat. My hand reached the lamp switch, flooding the room with light, and instantly Mimi stopped, frozen mid-step, as if she had never moved at all. I ran to my parents' room, crying. They searched my room but found nothing strange, just the doll sitting calmly on the floor. My father said I was imagining things, but my mother looked worried. "Let's put the doll away for tonight," she said. She locked Mimi in a wooden drawer. But in the morning, the drawer was open. The lock snapped clean in half. And Mimi was sitting on my desk, her stitched smile pulled into a sharper curve as if she were pleased. That was the final night I spent in that room. Grandma came over, pale and shaking. Without touching Mimi, she wrapped the doll in a black cloth and muttered old prayers I didn't recognize. Before leaving, she whispered to me, "Don't say her name again." Dolls with memories don't like being forgotten. Mimi was never brought back. I never saw her again. But sometimes, late at night, I hear the same slow scratching sound near my door, faint, patient, as if waiting. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, I always feel like something small is standing beside my bed, watching.